G'day guys, welcome back to SuperCoach with DR and welcome to the Round 8 stock market video. Where as usual, I'll take you through all the break-evens, the best buys, some of those pods and some of those blokes that we may need to sell. But it was a round where we saw some real highs and some real lows. You know, the Jacks are in form with McRae, Steele and Viney all putting in great performances. You know, Josh Kelly, he reminded us that he was a primo. And the big boys, Goldie and Grundy, they had absolute stinkers. But we do have a couple of guys there at the top that you can see in Brad Close and Christian Petracca. There's some guys that we may need to look to get in this week. The Seagull, he's got a little bit of value in him, so he sits in the middle there. And the two boys from North, Goldie and Simpkin, well, they find themselves at the bottom with break-evens at close to 200. But it's a really important round, particularly for the stock market, because we do have 3 trades, and it's really important that we use those trades effectively. So for some of us, we may be looking to go maybe 2 up, 1 down. Others maybe 2 down, 1 up. And I've also had some questions from other people during the last couple of days about would it be viable to even go 3 down. So we'll have a look at some of the options that are available to us this week. I like some of the premium options in the midfield, but unfortunately in our defensive lines and our mid, there's not a heap of rookie options, apart from some DPPs that we will talk about. But let's get into it. So as we always do, we'll start off with the defenders, 500k plus. Look, I'll just start off by saying that I'd recommend basically any one of these guys at this stage, probably apart from Callum Mills, who I'm not a huge fan of, particularly at that price and that break even there. But Sicily, I think, is the best buy for this week. Break even of only 33. He's been in red hot form in the last 3 weeks, an average of 112. The only trouble is that you're probably getting him at his highest price point. Well, it won't be his highest. He'll probably hit 600k next week. But we know what he's done in the past. He has dropped a couple of 40s. He is prone to doing that every now and then. So that's one thing to be concerned about. But with what we've seen over the past 3 weeks, there wouldn't be any reason not to seriously consider him. Luke Ryan's another one that seemed to hit form from Freo, taking some kickouts down there. Pretty reliable defender. I had him on the watch list a couple of weeks back, and he's one that I'd certainly look to bring in if you're looking for a nice pod. Daniel, Mr. Consistency, his break-even's back down to 83 now with an average of 106, so you can certainly pick him up. Not the best value in the world, but still a good buy. Jake Lloyd, again, you're not getting a heap of value, but that break-even is below that average by, what's that, let me do the maths, 14. So that's about, 30, well, should have known that, 30 points. So you still are actually getting a little bit of value there with the Seagull. But look, if you can get him in, he's always a great pick. We know that he's going to go 100 plus basically every week. Takes those kickouts. We name him the Seagull for a reason. So if you can, get him in. Ridley's another one I think is a buy now. We're not getting the value that we got from him, well, anytime really over the past month. But look at that average, 110. He's going to be a top 6 defender, I think. Minimum top 8. So even at 520 odd K, I'd still look to bring him in. Same as Nick Haynes. Don't get too scared off by that 127 red break even there. It is higher than his average, but he did go 129 last week, Haynes. I really, really rate this pick. I am seriously looking to possibly get him into my side this week because I'm looking for a defender. Maynard, I don't love this pick at this stage because over the last 3 weeks, I don't think that he's hit the ton after hitting the ton, I think, in the first 5 rounds. But Collingwood do have a really good draw coming up, so that's something to keep in mind also. He is only 511, so he's the cheapest of those defenders. He's still averaging 104, which is really handy for our backline. So take a look at him, but I think there's probably better options there at the moment. And as I said, Mills, you would not be looking to bring him in. He's at 571 with a break even of 150. If you've got him, I wouldn't look to trade him out also because he looks to be a keeper. On to the mid-price defenders. So the first thing we notice is that there's no buy nows or best buys. To be honest, I look at this list and none of these players are screaming pick me at the moment. I have the binoculars on a couple of people. The first one there is Shai Bolton. He's just in form at the moment. He's getting some mid-time. He's quick, he's exciting, he's fast, he can kick a goal, he loves to tackle. But the only concern moving forward is when the other players get back into the side that are missing at the moment. Your Cotchins, your Prestias, and these types of guys will come straight back into that midfield. But in the short term, looking pretty good, Shai Bolton. Shannon Hearn, I've got the binoculars on him. I mention it basically every week, but I'm not a real fan of him. But maybe after his bye, you could look to get him in if he scores half decent. Um, yeah, I'm still not confident on this pick though. You could get him this week if you're desperate, but remember he will miss a game the week after that. So if you're keen on him, my advice would be to let it probably ride this week, see how he goes. If he gets 100, he still won't be going up that much, and then I'll get him after the bye, but I'm not a fan of him. The Cannon, I think, if you have him, not many teams do, but I know that a couple of mates of mine do. I think you need to probably look to chop him now, look to move him on to somebody else. And Blitzarv, he's a bit of a pod there as well. Surprised me with that average of 93, flown under the radar just a little bit. So maybe just keep the binoculars on him also. Jaden Shaw, average of 95, break even of 87. He's taking a lot of the kickouts down there at Richmond, has some nice disposal. If you're looking for someone under 500k, he could be someone that you look at. Now I've got the binoculars on the next two here. Adam Sard and Jap Crisp. So Adam Sard, why am I looking at him? Well, I did go cold on him a couple of weeks back, but then I've looked back at the numbers. Look at that average, 103, really, really solid. A break even of 91, and you're still getting him under 500k. Now, why am I looking at him so closely? Well, it's because he doesn't have another bye. So every other team, apart from obviously Essendon and Melbourne, are going to cop a bye at some stage. We know when some teams are going to have their bye, others we're not too sure about yet. So with someone like Sard, let's just say that he scores that average next week. He's got an extra 103 points over every other defender, apart from any other Essendon and Melbourne players, obviously. So that's why I'm looking at him. I need to bring a defender in this week. I'm really keen to bring in someone like a Haynes, one of those guys that's just a lock for a top six defender. But at the same stage, I also want to get some value as well. So that's why I'm looking really, really closely at an Adam Sard. Jack Crisp. Why am I looking so closely at him? Because I haven't really been interested during the whole season. What interests me is this. His durability is absolutely amazing. I don't think that he's, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't missed a game since he's crossed over to Collingwood from Brisbane. He is just as durable as you can get, Crisp. So, look, he's got an average of 94, but you can pretty much bank on the fact that he plays every week. And with these short turnarounds, you want to be focusing on durable players. Players that have been, that have that consecutive streak of games. And Crisp is one of those blokes that you can just rely on to play each week. So that's why I'm having a really close look at him. He's under 500k as well. So I think there's a little bit of value there. His break evens right on his average. But if you are looking to pay less than that 500 mark, then I'd be looking really closely at Adam Sard or Jack Crisp. Rory Laird is another one that's starting to hit a little bit more form, but he's scared me off a little bit this year. Look, he's still someone that you should have a look at, but I just like other options a lot better than Laird at this stage. Shepherd's a pod, but you wouldn't go there. Duday, yeah, shattered about this. I'm an owner. I'm not sure if we trade him because I've heard some people say it might be a week, 4 weeks. He could be playing this week. So if it is only going to be 1 to 2, I'd look to probably hold. Brodie Smith, isn't he a roller coaster, just up and down, up and down. We've all got Sam Doherty. Now, talk about having a couple of players on the watch list. Zach Williams, when he's back, and I say this every week, definitely have a look at him. But this next man, Tom Stewart, he did come back over the weekend. Looked pretty solid. Nothing spectacular. But with Stewart, I'm definitely looking to bring him into my side next week. This week, look, if you're really desperate, he's only 450, but he will definitely go down next week unless he pulls some sort of a massive score out, which I doubt whether he'll go close to the 162. 100 plus would be nice, but yeah, next week, this guy is going to be an absolute bargain that I think we should all snap up. Unless you've got your 6 premium defenders already and you've completed your back line. Yeah, I'd certainly be taking a very, very close look at Tom Stewart. And next week, along with another bloke from Geelong that's in the midfield that I'll talk about soon, he will be the best buy for next week by an absolute country mile, I think, Tommy Stewart. On to the defenders, less than 300k. As you can see straight off the bat, the cupboard is pretty bare. So if you're looking to downgrade in your defense this week, there's not a whole heap of options. That's why I haven't got any buy nows or best buys. Look, you could argue Mackay up the top there with a negative break even of 42 is a terrific buy. But my problem is this. He's a key defender. You're almost paying 200k for him, and I simply don't think that he can keep that up that average, of 78. So, look, in the short term, he can make you a bit of cash over the next couple of weeks, and who knows? He could prove me wrong and continue to average around the 70s. But for me, I'm just not too confident on this pick. If you was at your 120 odd, even your 140 odd, I'd probably take my time back and say yes, he's an option. But I've still got some big concerns with McKay there, or Mackay. Not too sure how you pronounce that. Let me know in the comment section if you can, please, and that way I'll get it right for the next time. Andy McPherson, I've got the rock there because he's been rock solid, just like Will Day there, down at the bottom. It was last week we had, or the week before was it? We had the option of McPherson and Day in our defence, Simpson in our midfield, and Rankin in our forward line. I went with Simpson and Rankin, but if you did go with either of McPherson or Will Day, yeah, terrific trade-ins. They're looking really, really solid at the moment. Look, we did have Tobe Watson play his first game on the weekend. He came in, got a 49. He's a key defender. He was a late in for Cox, I believe. But I've got the job security there. If he's a late in, if Cox is right next week, you'd expect him to come back in. But he didn't play the worst game in the world. They were absolutely horrid conditions there. So, yeah, he may get another chance next week. I think he's mature age. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see with team sheets. But, yeah, his job security really does concern me. Same as Matthew Ling. Again, an average of 47. They're both at 123, so they're on the cheaper end, but job security is a major concern there. Derek the Egg, don't buy him, even though he's got his break even of 5. He won't make you enough money to make that worth it. You would have had to get him last week, and even then, I wasn't a huge fan of that trade. Brander, we may have to look to get out. Look at that break even. It'd be frustrating to have to trade him, wouldn't it? Because it's only 17 with an average of 60, so he's got money to make, but I just don't know when he comes back into that side. I think he'll just have to wait for injuries, unfortunately. So that's a frustrating one. What do you do with him? There's arguments either way, to be honest. Will Day just talked about him. Congrats to the blokes like Spill that end up getting him in. Will Hamill, pretty impressed with this bloke. Not necessarily from a super coach perspective, but he takes the game on. He's quick with that left foot, lightly built, and I think he's got a future, Hamill. On to the other defenders under 300k. No one to buy here, but plenty to possibly sell. So you can see some of those red break evens from Fisher down to Young. You don't necessarily have to trade any of these guys. Probably Young you'd look to trade given that high break even there. And maybe Williamson, who dropped a 20 something on the weekend from memory. I don't have him, but I'm pretty sure that is what he scored. But we'll quickly go from the top. Rivers, job security. He hasn't been playing. I've been using him as a loop. Hill, he's injured. Buy's coming up, so I'm probably looking to move him on myself. Stas, I'm probably going to keep. Ash is one of those ones that's just been a disappointing rookie so far. Fisher, again, I'd probably move him on because I just don't think he's going to make much money. You have to just wait for him to get back into the side and then get a really decent score, which I'm not too sure is going to happen. Noble, well, it's been handy that he played the last couple of weeks. Made about 1,000, I think, last week. Not a heap, but at least he did play for us. If you want to move him on, now could be an okay time. And I've mentioned onto the midfielders, 500k plus. I was going cold on Clary a few weeks ago, but I think if you look at that break even with an average of 120, I think he's got to be the best buy there. You could argue Josh Kelly after his form last week would be a really good pickup also. His break even's only 60 there, so really, really low. But Clary is just in some outstanding form at the moment, just like Melbourne's team are. Onto the midfielders, 500k plus. I've got Clary as the best buy this week. Break even of only 58 compared to that average of 120. He'll be going up in price, going past 600k after next week. I did go a little bit cold on him a couple of weeks back, but he's hit form as of Melbourne as a side, so I think he's a good buy there. We all saw what Josh Kelly did last week with that massive score. I think he's a buy now if you're looking to get another primo midfielder in. His break even's only 60, so again, he'll be going up. Cogs, he's a roller coaster. I really like this pick actually, Luke Parker from Sydney. I'm guessing that not too many sides will have many Sydney players in there. You might have the Seagull in the back line, but if you look at that average, 110, only 530k at the moment, break even of 62, the same as Cogs. I think he could be a really sneaky buy. Same as Tim Kelly. One thing that I do need to mention with all of these West Coast players is remember that after this week, they do have a buy. So, yeah, it's a little bit frustrating because he's got a terrific break even there, someone like a Kelly. But do you buy him this week knowing that he's then going to miss the next week? Or, yeah, do you wait until after the buy? The trouble with doing that is obviously you're not going to get the value that he presents this week, but it's a decision that you'll need to make for yourself. But I won't be getting in any West Coast players before their buy, as tempting as it is. We've got another one down there at the bottom, Andrew Gaff. He had a magnificent start to the season, didn't he? But had a couple of quiet weeks, and he finds himself back down there really close to 500k with a break even of only 84. So I do have the buy now there on him, but just keep in mind that he does have that buy coming up. Lions, I've got the pod symbol there. He's been outstanding for Brisbane lately and really flown under the radar. Look, of course he's going in when you got someone like Lockie Neal there. Jack McRae, wow, last week, I'm an owner, absolutely wrapped. He's back to his best as well. I had him as a buy now, definitely last week. I think also the week before there. You're not getting the value that you were getting last week or the week before, but 617k. There's cheaper options out there, but I think at his best, McRae is one of the obviously the best scorers in the game, and history suggests that over the last couple of years. Jack Steele's another bite now, I think, with that average of basically 120, break even of only 78. He will hit 600, very similar to Clary, so it's probably a choice, isn't it? Do you go with an Oliver or a Steele? Almost identical price, identical average, not a heap between their break even, just 20 points there. So that's probably a decision that many coaches would be looking to make. Zach Merritt, binoculars on him. Look, you could get him this week. Nothing at all wrong with getting him this week. I don't know why I had the binoculars on him. Actually, I could have put a buy now on there because remember, he will not have a buy also. So if you're paying 524,000, if he gets an average of 108, that's a bonus on top of any other midfielder apart from Essendon and Melbourne players. Yeah, that could be something to really look at. And that's the same as Oliver as well. And that's another reason why I've got him as my best buy up the top because he doesn't have a buy during the season. Sorka I've got there as a pod. I'd love to pick him up because I think he's really starting to hit form. He was a bargain last week also, but what does worry me is the short turnaround in between games. And he has been injured this year, had some problem with his Achilles and some minor soft tissue stuff as well. So, yeah, the durability side of things would be my major concern with Zorko. But if there was longer breaks in between games, yeah, I'd be looking really, really closely at him. So, look, there's some really, really tempting options there this week in our forward line. Some really low break evens with some nice players there. And yeah, where do you go? That's completely up to you. On to the next set of midfielders. Talk about a nice pod. I've mentioned this guy for the last few weeks. No one's got him in their sides. He continues not to get the respect that he deserves from the AFL community and the Supercoach community. Starting to now, I think, in the AFL community. But look at that average, 114, a break even of 98. I said it last week. I don't have the cherries to do it, but if if you're looking for a massive pod, someone that's in terrific form, Tuke Miller is 568,000. I can't believe I'm saying it, but yeah, been a terrific pick for those. What is it, about 2,000 people that own him at this stage. I won't talk a heap about all these other players here, but I do rate most of these options there. Pendles is getting a little bit too old. He's injured. I think Huey McCluggage is a little bit up and down. I still don't think it's quite his year, Huey, but next year I'll be looking really closely at starting him, I think. But the man that we do really need to talk about is Mitch Duncan. So you'll find him there towards the bottom with a break even of 157. Really hit back last week, didn't he? Or on the Monday night, last night that is. I'm recording this on the Tuesday. 531,400. Look, if he repeats his performance from the Monday night, then he doesn't go down too much more. But look, if he gets an average of 108, look, I'll put that average up to about a 120 because he did get injured early on. So let's just say he gets a 120, then yeah, look, he goes down to about your 520 mark, maybe a bit under that. But yeah, look, you could actually look to get him now that I think about it. You could maybe even look to get him this week, Mitch Duncan, if you're looking to get a midfielder in, because yeah, that average does deceive you a little bit, because if you take that injury affected game out of it, it's a lot closer to 120. Travis Spoke, I've also got the binoculars on him. He had a great start to the season, has been quieter lately, but with a break even of 158, I don't have any port players in my side at the moment. So I think it'd be a nice point of difference. And look, you'll get him most likely. We don't know what they're going to score. A lot of this is based on predictions, but I think you can definitely get him under 500k next week. So he could be a really sneaky buy and someone I'm having a really, really close look at. So there are a lot of guys here that I'm a fan of. I'm not, yeah, as certain as what I was in the preseason about who the top 10 midfielders for average would be by the end of the season. I think that's going to change now. I might actually do a separate video on that. I might do that, yeah, maybe in the next couple of weeks. Do maybe a prediction for the top 10. But look, plenty of nice options there. Maybe not on this page due to those break evens this week, but particularly the last page of midfielders 500k plus. Some really, really tempting options. So yeah, let me know down in the comments section who you're looking at getting this week if you're looking to upgrade in the midfield. On to the mid-price midfielders. You would not believe that you can see that name down there at the bottom. Patrick Cripps now finds himself in the mid-price category. 478,100, average of only 96 for the year now with a break-even of 126. But look, we've all got him. I'm not going to trade him personally. I just don't think that there's enough value out there. Look, for example, Walsh. He's 6k less than Cripps. So that's a sort of play that you're looking to trade into if you do get rid of Cripps. So I'm holding him, even though it's frustrating. Most coaches having those, so we shouldn't worry too much given the fact that his ownership is so high. He's been disappointing, hasn't he? I had him as one of the best buys a couple of weeks ago, and I know that a few coaches brought him in, but yeah, just we haven't seen the best of Elliot Yeo, have we? Tim Kelly's been the man that's really been the shining light there in the midfield. So Yeo, yeah, don't get him in this week. And I can't really recommend him after what he's done. I just assumed that given the fact he was back in WA, he was going to start to hit some form, wouldn't cop a tag. That hasn't eventuated. But I've still got some hope for him, but you're not looking to invest at this stage. Andy McGrath, he's a really interesting one. So look, given the fact we've got our 4 extra trades now, we may be able to complete our team and get an extra Uber mid into our sides. But if you are looking for a really cheap M8, Andy McGrath could be a man. He plays for Essendon, no buy. I keep repeating this, but I just want to remind you, it is a big factor for me because I'll say this with all the Essendon and Melbourne players. If he gets an average of 99, he's getting that on top of every other player. So someone to look at. I wouldn't bring him into my side personally. I've already got some like a Viney there that's going to be hopefully my M8 at the end of the season. But yeah, if you're looking for a sneaky pick, you could have a look at him. Sam Walsh, break even of 28. He's really started to hit some form. Yeah, as Patrick Cripps has gone down, the young buck has risen back up. Maybe you heard me say that I'm starting to rate Baz ahead of him and said, bug you, DR. I'm going to start to show you what I'm made of. But with a break even of 28, average of 90, there is certainly value there, but I wouldn't be looking to bring him into my side. And on to the midfielders, less than 300k. Again, the cupboard is looking very, very bare. Keep in mind that I do have some mid forwards that I'll go through when I get to the forwards. But if we look at the names on this page, you've got Mays there. Phil, we have the negative break evens, but I wouldn't be going there at this stage. Job security on 3 of those guys in particular. And there's just not enough value there if you're looking to pick up any of these guys. You could argue maybe Hibbard, break even of 4, average of 60, but you're paying over 200k for him now. He's played better than I expected him to, though. You're looking at Sam Simpson. It's too late for him now, I think. Didn't set the world on fire on Monday night. So, yeah, wouldn't be looking to invest into him. Yeah, no names are screaming out at me here. You wouldn't be looking to sell any of these guys, but you wouldn't be looking to buy any of them. If any, um, you'd have to be amazed, wouldn't it? Just because he's got a negative break even, but you're almost paying 250k, unfortunately. On to the other guys that you may be looking to chop. Look at that. Brad Hill down there at the bottom. His break even should be in red there. Apologies for that. But would you believe Brad Hill is at 289,900? I think it was in the preseason during, was it the Marsh? I forget what the preseason cup was called now, but he was on fire in one of those games. I think he scored a really, really nice 100. But I don't know what's happened to him. I think, is it the shorter quarters? He's an endurance king, so that's been, certainly not to his benefit with the shorter time frame of games. But yeah, amazed to see him at that price. I couldn't believe it when I was looking through the list of names that Brad Hill was even there. But McHenry, yeah, very, very disappointing. Burns, look at that. His break even's higher than his average. Only played the one game there, but Tyler Brown's the one that you would look to definitely move on. You'd probably keep a Green, would you? But I'm not sure about his job security. But as you can see, not a terrific list there at all, particularly if you're looking to buy. And if you're looking to sell, very, very awkward also. On to the Rucks. I'm going to keep this really, really simple. If you do not have Max Gawn in your side, get him in ASAP. He's about to hit the 800k mark, which is absolutely phenomenal. I finally got him in last week, chucked the captaincy on him, and I was wrapped with what he produced. We saw what Grundy and Goldstein did, which is the only other two rucks that I really rate out of this whole crop. Yeah, they put in stinkers. So, yeah, if you don't have him, he's killing your Big Maxi at the moment. Last week as well, after he posted that 200 score, I still couldn't bring myself to recommend Tim English as a buy. I couldn't put the buy it now on him or a best buy because I simply really didn't rate the pick. I thought it was a score that was a bit out of the box. A terrific game that he played for that 200, and I certainly think he deserved it. But my concern was, could he replicate that form? And obviously, yeah, he showed that he couldn't back that up, unfortunately, for anyone that bought him in. But yeah, look, he, he'll still go up a little bit in price. You'd hope with that break even of 88 if you can go 100 plus. But yeah, bad luck if you did bring him in. And long story short, I'll say it again, get Big Maxi in. The other thing I'll quickly say is you've got Brooksby up the top there. If you're someone like me that's got someone like a Naismith at your R3 as your little piggy bank there, he could be someone that you could downgrade to while you've got these three trades. Rather than going to a Conroy. You are paying 15 grand more, but if he does play again this week, he will go up in price. And then if you've got that spare trade at the end of the year, you could possibly look to, trade him off for that 30, 40k if he makes that and invest it elsewhere as a bit of a luxury. Just something to think about. On to the forwards, 500k plus. The man up the top there, Christian Petrarca, in the form of his life. He's going to hit the 600k mark very, very soon. Break even of only 45. He's the best buy there in your forward line if you're looking for a premium option. Look, you are paying a pretty hefty price. Will he start to get tagged because he's in this great form? I'm not too sure, but if you look at the numbers, I can't see him slowing down anytime soon, and I'm wrapped that I've got him in my side personally. Andy Brayshaw, break even of 83. I've got this bloke as well. He's been terrific for me. Average of 102. He's still pretty hard to recommend, knowing that Five's coming in, but credit where credit's due. He's been terrific and really, really stepped up. So he's a legitimate option to look at as a premium in your forward lines. Greenwood, well, along with Track, probably been the best two forwards this year. You could argue Simpkin as well, but after his last 2 weeks, he's sort of gone down a little bit there. But if you're looking for another premium forward, then you couldn't go wrong with Greenwood. You are paying, geez, a hefty price for Huey, aren't you there? But we've seen his numbers over the whole season so far. His break even still less than his average, so slight value there, but he's a bite now for me if you're looking to get a forward in. Same as Michael Walters. I know he did he injure himself late in the game there? I don't know if it's serious or not. I don't think so, but he's been a great option for us this year also. And Tommy Hawkins, he's suspended, high break even. I called him a trap, may have been a little bit harsh. I did look into his numbers more, and he's had a heap of score involvements this year, which has really boosted his average here. But yeah, don't look to get him in. If you've got him, I suppose he's been a pretty good pick for you, but yeah, unfortunate he's out for the next week. On to the mid-price forwards now. Josh Kennedy from West Coast had a terrific game, very low, but he'll be one of those roller coasters, and traditionally he's always been a roller coaster, even in his peak form. Josh Kennedy. Benny Keys, geez, I like him as a pod. He's still under 400k. I reckon he could be a really nice buy, actually. I've been watching him pretty closely because he's obviously an ex-Brisbane player, and I've got a real soft spot for him. But he's got a role there. He's clearly best 22 at Adelaide. One of their better midfielders, to be quite honest, at the moment. And if you're looking to get a sneaky pot in and you don't want to be paying, that 500-600k for someone like a Greenwood, Petrarca, or one of these types, then Benny Keys could be a man. But keep in mind, you will have Simpkin probably at around that 400k mark in the next couple of weeks. Paddy Ryder I've got there as a ruck forward. Look, he started to hit form, low break even there. I've put the pod on him rather than a trap. I think he's trappish because him and Marshall sharing those ruck duties. I'm not too sure what's going to happen moving forward there, but they're both in form at the moment. He's a ruck forward, so he could be a sneaky little buy. He's got that, I suppose, insurance there in case a Gawn or a Grundy goes down if you've got a comb and DPP swing in the ruck there. I wouldn't be looking to get him in, but he could be a sneaky pick. Darcy Parish, forgot to put the binoculars on him, but I've got the binoculars on him in a big way for people. I'm not going to look to get him into my side personally, but at 416k, an average of 96, almost 100 there, which is really handy. Doesn't have the buy. I won't keep repeating myself there, but the break even of 59, very sneaky buy. If you got Baz in last week and you're looking to complete your forward line with our 3 trades this week, yep, definitely have a look at him. There is no binoculars there, but yeah, I would have certainly put them there. Possibly even the buy now I should have put there next to Darcy Parish, come to think of it. So apologies for that, but yeah, look very closely at this fella here. Who have got the buy now there? Baz, yeah, well, he was a great buy last week, but still, break even of 78. He'll go 100 plus most weeks, you'd think. 433,000, still very good value. Spills is getting on him this week. I recommend that you do the same. I would take him over Darcy Parish. So I would take Parish, though, if you haven't got Baz. Definitely look at him this week. Wingard, roller coaster. As you knew, if you select him at the start of the season, that's what you were going to get. Now, you may think I'm crazy. Why have you got the big O here, DR? But what I'm thinking of is his role now. Steph Martin's gone down. He's out for 7 to 8 weeks. Smith, who's a backup ruckman, he's also out. So the big O, he's probably going to be spending 80% of his time, if not more, in the ruck. We know what number 1 rucks have been able to do this year at times. So he's a ruck forward. So he's got that DPP status, which is really handy also. Maybe just see how he goes this week. That's all I'm saying. Put him on your watch list. And if he goes maybe 100 plus, then he could certainly be an option to get into your side. I mentioned that Ryder's got that DPP status that you could swing with a combat in case one of the big boys go down. Battery's running low. Apologies for that. Yeah, he could be a really sneaky buy in another week. Not yet, but in another week. Dev Smith, oh geez, what do we do with this guy? He's giving us rookie scores, so he could be on the chopping block. I'm probably going to trade him. I don't think this week. Only small advantage, he doesn't have the buy, but he's been giving us rookie scores. You could probably look to downgrade him to someone else, one of these blokes that I'll mention in a minute. Make yourself 200 to 250k, and then, yeah, get someone else in the side because he's a frustrating pick, and he's not a keeper, Dev Smith. Rosie, yeah, if you've got him, I wouldn't sell him personally, but frustrating for owners. He could be a sneaky buy if he starts to hit some form at some stage. Get rid of Lynch if you've got him. Lambert, I still think he's a really nice pod. Maybe not this week with that break even, but I rate him as a player. And Simpkin, he will be cheap as chips. Extremely frustrating for me as an owner. But if you're not an owner, get him into your side when he's close to 400k in a couple of weeks. He will be such a good buy. Even probably a better buy than a Baz, I'd almost say, Jai Simpkin. So we'll finish up with the forwards under 300k. Finally, it seems like there are some downgrade options for us here. Up the top, we've got Mitch Georgiadis from Port Adelaide. He's got a negative break-even of 57. I think he's a buy it now. We are paying a little bit more for him, but with that average of 82, he's got a fair bit of money to make, I think, in the next couple of weeks in particular. So he could be someone that you could look to bring into your side. Some of us may even have him on the bench if you didn't trade him out, if you did start with him in round one. Brad Close, well, he's the man to like best here. He's the best buy, I think, out of this bunch of players. Negative 28 for his break even. Really cheap price at 109,900, and he's got that mid forward status as well. So very similar to Butterick at the start of the year price wise as well. He's got an average of 74. He debuted on the weekend, kicked a goal, had a couple of other chances, so that 74 could have been a little bit higher. The issue with him is his job security. So Geelong obviously have a lot of injuries at the moment. Blokes like Dalehouse are out, which, he'll be coming back into the side, you'd think. But Close, he certainly put his best foot forward over the weekend. He actually really impressed me. A pressure type of player. Looked dangerous when he got around the ball. So I'll be bringing him into my side this week. If he gets named, obviously, I'm expecting him to be named, and I think he deserves to be named after his performance on the weekends. But there's a lot to like about this bloke, apart from the fact that, yeah, his job security is a little bit dodgy. But to be quite honest, I don't think that we've got much choice, because given the fact that we've got 3 trades to use, we're going to have to do some downgrades here. And we may need to select options that aren't absolutely ideal. So I think personally that if he plays this week, he is close to a must-have downgrade option. Just given the fact that he's cheap, he's got that DPP status, and we do need to look to downgrade if we are going to upgrade at all during this next 3 to 4 weeks. Elijah Taylor there, I've also got to buy now. Look, not a great scorer. The small forward isn't great for Supercoach either, but I think he's got some pretty decent job security there at Sydney. I think they'll want to play him. He's got that mid forward status. He has gone up a little bit, but at 137,000, he's still not breaking the bank whatsoever, and he can obviously be selected in your midfield or in your forward line. So negative break even of 12. I don't think he'll be a huge money maker, but if you are looking to downgrade, you will make some money, obviously, when you do downgrade, and he should have fairly decent job security, I think. Carl there as a mid forward, yeah, similar, I suppose, to Taylor, isn't he? He's got a negative break even of 1, Taylor with negative 12, but you're saving 7 grand if you go a Carl. Does he keep his spot? I'm not too sure. Bombers fans, let me know. I'll have to have a chat with Spiller about Carl. But yeah, look, he is an option. He's not an ideal option, but we do need to downgrade. I don't know a lot about Bell, but he came in for a 54, negative break even of 1. If he plays again, could be an option, but you are paying close to that 130 mark. Yeah, Frederick, I wouldn't go near. Arts, you're too late on him. Waitman, probably not now. Although I probably like his job security the best out of this lot. Obviously, take out Rankin, that's an absolute given. But yeah, probably job security wise, Waitman. But you look at the value, you wouldn't go him probably value wise, I wouldn't think. Jack Marnie up the top there, negative break even, sorry, not negative, well, break even of 29 there, still below his average. I'm keeping Butterick, but if you want, you can trade him. But look at that now, his break even's gone back down to 38. He has come down a bit in price, but I'm looking to keep him, as I've said many times. And the 4 guys that I've got down there at the bottom, Taylor King, Pickett, and Vandermeer, think it's time to move these blokes on. You could probably keep Taylor for another week if you want to, but these are the type of players that you should be looking to downgrade now to a close type. Taylor, King, Pickett, and Vandermeer, for me, are the blokes that you should be looking to trade. Berry there, I probably should have had the axe on as well, just forgot to do that. But yeah, I'd really recommend, particularly with someone like a Pickett there or a Vandermeer that you can see with those high break evens as compared to their average, it really is time to get rid of these guys. So that will do us for the week, guys. I know it was a really long one, but given the fact that we do have these 3 trades coming up, and I'm not too sure when I'll be able to get these stock market videos out, it does take me a fair bit of time to put them together. So given the fact that we'll have some really short turnarounds, I'll do my best to get them out on time. They may be a little bit late, but yeah, as I said, I'll always do my best to get them out there. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. Remember, we do have the subscriber group, 345115 with a $25 first prize there. And I tell you what, I'm looking to double that because we've just gone past 850 subscribers, which is really, really humbling. And I really do appreciate the support as always, guys. So hope you have a good week. Let me know how your team's going and what your thoughts are. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Cheers. Bye.